cat in the wall, eh? Okay, now you're talking my language.
You ever drunk Baileys from a shoe?
All right. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. Week 1 is here now. Everybody gets to come out and play. College football's back, baby. Inject it right there into my veins. Dyerwolf here with just Matt on View from C-Deck. We're here to do our Week 1 gambling podcast, betting lines, and we're both so sad, Casey, that no prop bets in Ohio anymore on college players to juice up our parlays.
I was wanting to bet on like Will Howard rushing yards, all kinds of stuff, man. And just I knew I heard it on the radio, and then I chose not to believe it until I can't make bets. So.
Yep. And it's why is our state so backwards sometimes, like at everything? But neither here nor there, because we don't ever do prop bets actually on this podcast. We do lines and over-unders. And last year, the Dyerwolf here was 64% against the spread, boys and girls. Just putting that out there. I was 56%, so neither one of us were terrible. You would make money with either one of those numbers. But as always, with this podcast, since we're Buckeye-centric, we will start with the Buckeyes in a game that not many people are going to want to watch against Akron. But 48.5-point favorites, over under 58.5. Dyerwolf, I'll let you start off here. You and the Haas, who's not present tonight because he's probably still watering greens somewhere, both had the under. Why do you think this game stays under there for the Bucks?
It's all about the defense. I'm expecting a shutout. I'm not going to be shocked if they score once, but shutout means we'd basically have to score 60 to hit the over, and I just don't see that happening. I'm hoping he puts a ton of subs in, and then who knows? I mean, our second string is better than the first string, but who knows what happens when snaps and changing offensive linemen and stuff. That would take basically more than 2 touchdowns every quarter, the whole game. So I'm thinking if we get a shutout, we'll win like maybe 49, 45, nothing, something like that.
Yeah. I could go on our preview of the game. I picked us to go over, but the more I think about it, I'm like leaning your way, but I still think we like score enough to cover the spread. So I have us as one of my picks, covering the 48.5, which is not something I normally do, but I had to pick the Buckeyes as one of my games for week 1. But we're just so stacked. We're so talented compared to everybody else, to Akron, especially like man for man, every single position we should dominate. And we have explosive talent on offense. And I think we want to show that enough and I'm looking at some of these other games early tonight, and there's a lot of blowouts, like 35-0 first halves going on between like Arkansas, Little Rock. Oh, there you are. Got your picture now. So I think we cover. I think we still hit the over because I like I said on there, I think we want to get real reps for our backups. So I think they'll try to score. I think we'll see Devin Brown chucking deep balls up to Jaden Ballard, trying to get the connection there, just in case something happens, somebody gets hurt. So I'll take us to cover. You and the Haas both had the under, though. Haas just texted me why he's not here. He said the one weekday night I have plans. Tender Bumble. Okay. That's okay, then. He's a single man. We got kids and stuff. We have to be home anyway. The big game of the day, though, at noon, Clemson and Georgia. The Dogs are the number 1 team in the country, betting favorites to win the national championship. Clemson looking to finally get back to the playoff for the first time since 2021 or 2020. Sorry. Is that the last time they were there? Yeah, against us when we kind of ended the program. Justin Fields hitting deep balls to Chris Olave. I'm sure they still have nightmares about it. But Georgia, 12-point favorites. You and Jason both picked this game, but you picked different things. I'll let you go first.
I got Georgia. Both of these defenses are going to dominate. Maybe the pick there would be the under, but it's a pretty low under. So
you picked the over.
I was thinking about it like, man, it's like 40 or something like that. It's like an Iowa under. But so I stayed away from that. But more than a 2-touchdown lead gets me there. I think that's about what they'll win by. Clemson will hang around because of their defense, but there's no. I don't think they're even going to give them a game, to be honest.
I'll give you the current line now. This is actually just -12 now.
Wow. When I saw it, it was like -13.5. So
yeah, that's what you sent me. It's -12 now though, so money's coming in on Clemson. I did pick Clemson to make the playoff. I think their defense should be. I mean, it's always good. They ended on a hot streak last year. They did lose like Will Shipley, but I don't think he was that great in college anyway. I think there's too much talent on their team. Their schedule's good enough. I don't think they win this game, but I think they keep it close enough. But man, the 13.5, I would have taken Clemson. The 12, I still lean Georgia. I'll go with you on that one. And I do like the over though, like Jason has, because Georgia's offense was real nice last year, and Clemson plays a high pace. They played they were like top 10 in the country in plays last year. So there should be a lot of more plays, even though both defenses are good, that we get like a 27-20, 27. I won't cover it. I got a 30-24 game. All right. Another noon game that Jason and I both picked. The Nittany Lions of Penn State. And we both picked this. No, we did not pick the same thing here. Unfortunately for me, and I made a big parlay, because like I always do, to start out the season and take advantage of one of the boosts. I had Penn State -8.5, and I've listened to some other things about this game. They're going to West Virginia. Last year they blew them out, but this one's at West Virginia. West Virginia actually went like 9-4 last year. Not too bad of a team. At home, Penn State's got a new offense. I was like, the new offense is why I picked them to make the playoff, and why I thought they were going to win by more than 8.5. Then I was like, oh yeah, West Virginia was in the same conference as Kansas, so they have seen this offense before. So it won't be like a new thing to them. They may actually know their Penn State's offense a little better than Penn State does at this point, just starting out. So I think they keep it close enough. And I took Penn State +8, but Jason laid the points. What do you think, Casey?
I took Penn State, I think, as my.
You did. You did.
Yeah.
All three of us picked this game then.
Yeah. I got Penn State. I think Aller finally, maybe they'll actually let him loose for once and see what he's got. But I think they could be a Big Ten qualifier, like in the playoffs. So I would not be shocked if they made it. They're about even money, I think, right now to make the playoff.
Yeah.
And if they lose this game, that's looking pretty murky.
Yeah. I like you also wanted to make a parlay with all my playoff teams just to see what it was, and they won't let you do it on FanDuel because fuck them. That's why. All right.
I did mine. I didn't do 12. I did 8.
I did all 12. Yeah.
Probably won't let you.
No, I did not do all 12 because they won't offer you odds on like the G5 teams.
Oh.
So I did 11.
I did all major conferences, and it let me do it.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't want to anyway, though, because like some of the odds are better on like conference champions than just making it. And I'm like, well, they're only going to make it if they're a conference champion, like Kansas State. So, now time for the Dyerwolf's Delight, the special. I mean, you probably made it to 64% just because you kept picking this every week last year. Noon game, Iowa Hawkeyes. Say that again.
I said I bet this hit 10 out of 12 times.
I bet it was more than that last year. Even their bowl game, which they got, it was only 36.5, and they gave up 35. But since they got shut out, it was still under. It was probably like 12 out of 13. I think they went over against like Northwestern or something weird like that.
Yep. Now they got a new offensive coordinator. So who knows? Things could change. But I don't think they're going to give up any points. So what was it again? How much was the over-under?
40.5.
Yeah, so they could score 40, and I'm still good, which I don't – did they ever score 40 last year?
I think they did against Northwestern. I think that was the game.
Yeah. So basically I'm banking on both of my under picks. I'm banking on the defenses dominating and giving up goose eggs because if that happens, I think they both hit.
Yeah. I'll go with you. I mean, why the hell not? I don't care who they have. I mean, McNamara's at quarterback too. They have good tight ends like always. I mean, it's the same old story. I don't think they went and like reinvented the wheel with whoever they. I remember who they hired, and I was like looking at his resume. I'm like, Man, they really just don't want to be good at offense, do they? 3:30 game. This is actually the only game that we didn't pick that I wanted to talk about that nobody picked. Miami, going to Florida to the Swamp, which should be it's a huge game for both teams. I was listening to Paul Feinbaum on one of our local shows today. He was a guest, and he's like, this could be a firing game for both coaches, just because of the way that the expectations are. I had Miami making the playoff though. They're -2.5 here. I don't love it. It's funny. FPI though has Florida at 57% to win, but the gamblers have them as 2.5-point underdogs at home. And actually, it's leaning more towards 3 for Miami. Canes take it. I don't believe in Billy Napier, at least not there at Florida. I just think it's just not. There's just too much going on there for him. And Cristobal, one thing he does, he makes good offensive and defensive lines. Dan Lanning's been able to harvest that up in Oregon into better things because he makes better decisions. But I think it's enough for Miami to win this game. We'll take the Canes.
Yeah, it's almost it's kind of hinting ballsy territory for just one reason, and it's because of the number by Miami's name to the random game.
Though.
Sorry,
they're favorites though, small favorites.
I know, yeah, but I'm saying if people don't really look at much and they just see a ranked team versus unranked, it seems like, well, yeah, they're going to win by more than 2.5. But I mean, it's in-state rivalry. I mean, it's going to be a close game. But I do see Miami sneaking it out.
Yeah. Are you going to lay the 2.5 though?
I'm going to. I think they win by a field goal. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I'll take it with Ware being there now too. I think they have enough on offense. And they spent a lot of money in NIL, so they're expecting some results. Game we both picked down 7:00. And the team we both like to make the playoff under Kalen DeBoer makes his debut at Bama, 31.5-point favorites. I picked it's over up to 59.5 now. It's 58.5 though when I picked it. So I have the over. A lot of Washington games went really high scoring. I think they'll want to establish that offense early. Jaden Milroe is supposed to be a Heisman candidate, and I actually if I had to put money on it right now, I probably would put it on him, just because the deep ball is his only strength passing, I think. But that's what they like to do in that offense, and he can run. And those are two nice marriages: having a good deep ball game, and if you're going to play him deep, he can run. He'll have running lanes. So I think they put up big points. Western Kentucky. It's the only off team that we really scored on last year. We scored 63 against them. So I think they're really bad at defense too. So I think some points get scored in this game.
Yeah, that was probably the smarter bet, because I was thinking the same thing. Like, we destroyed these fools last year, and this coach is going to want to make a statement. I feel like, even though it's Western Kentucky, it's his first game. He's replacing Nick Saban. He doesn't want them to look bad. So I think they absolutely destroy them. And it's a pretty big number, but a lot of Bama spreads recently are like in the 40s. 30 whatever didn't seem that high to me.
Yeah, I can see him. I mean, DeBoer's a good coach. Like, he has won big at every stop he's been at. So I have no doubt they'll get. And look what he's done with their NIL, and their recruiting class is better than ours all of a sudden. And I thought there would be a fall off after Saban, but I mean, I know the guy can coach in game. I think there'll be a fall off this year overall, but that's only because they lost so much in the portal. Also, they lost their whole secondary, so that, and Western Kentucky throws the ball like crazy, so they could definitely have some holes and give up a few points. That's why I like the over.
We still have the last though, I think, right?
Yeah, maybe, but we're way behind them now on the average. They're like over 94 now on the average.
Yeah, more 90. Well, we signed that 4-star offensive lineman. He's not really a 4-star.
He's a 3-star.
He's a 4-star on the composite, 2-4.
I know, but he's 422nd on the composite.
He's the last possible 4-star.
Yeah, just because he has an offer from us. All right. Notre Dame and A&M at 7:30. The Haas picked this one. I'm glad he did, because I wanted to talk about it. Notre Dame getting 3 on the road. Higher ranked team though. They bring in who's their quarterback now from freaking Riley Leonard. Yeah, I was about to say Sam Hartman. They keep getting transfers. Trying to do the experience all over again. he picked A&M because I know he does not believe in Notre Dame at all. I should have called Mike about this game, our buddy Greeny, to see what his thoughts were coming in. But 3 on the road, I think Notre Dame. I'm not a big A&M believer, no matter who they have at their coach. And feel like this is not a type of game they always win. They're getting 3. I'll take those 3 points.
I think I'm going to go with Notre Dame too, and they're one of my playoff teams, and the 90% of the reason is the schedule. This is arguably their hardest game on their schedule, and so if they get by this one, even if they lose one more and they're 11-1, I mean they're in. I think they're like 1-loss teams basically are all in if you play a Power 5 schedule. So I mean this game should be humongous for them because basically if you win this, unless you screw it up, you're in the playoffs. So I think they're going to come out playing hard, and I think they might actually win it outright.
Oh, so win it all is national championship.
No, they'll get like
it might be a must-win game for them though, with how weak their schedule is. That's the underrated thing is people keep saying, "Oh, 10-2 is getting you in. 10-2 is getting you in." I don't know that it is. I don't know because it's going to be you're going to be a lot of people have the same resume then. And then you actually have to compare resumes. If you don't have the big wins, I don't think you're going to get in.
I mean, there's 10-2 with some people will get in, but there's going to be a bunch of 10-2 teams. So I mean, you take all the conference champions plus the G5 champ, you're really you're left with 7 spots. And how many of those are going to be Big Ten and SEC? Probably. Well,
if you're 10-2 and you're playing and you played Notre Dame's schedule and you're 9-3, but you played Bama's schedule, Bama's getting in. I have no doubt about that. All right. A game I picked for 7:30 though that you fools, you idiots, stayed away from because you didn't want to keep an eye on the cheaters up north. I know. I don't want to see anything about them celebrating this fake national championship they just won, but they host Fresno State, 21-point favorites at home. I don't like that spread. I think that's a good spread for Fresno State because Michigan's replacing 10 starters on offense. We've seen Orgy. He can't throw the ball. He can run like crazy, though, so maybe they wear out Fresno State. But they're going to lean on defense. Over under 46 seems too high to me. I think there could be like a better version of Iowa on both sides of the ball. So I see it like being like a 38-3 type game. That's the under. I'll take the under on this one for my pick.
I actually thought about betting on Fresno State just because I freaking hate them so much. And Fresno State, they were last year.
They're not bad.
I think they were like a 9-3 or 10-2 team, something around there. So if they only win by 21, they don't cover. And what does Michigan do, especially with freaking Orgy? They're gonna run it 80% of the time probably. And if Fresno do something to at least slow them down a little bit, game gets shorter. They just run that clock. So that's another reason why the under is probably a smart play.
Yeah. His 46 just seems like on a 21-point spread, 46 seems just way too low for what if you're thinking they're going to be like one of the best defenses in the country still, and they're going to run the ball all the time. They're shrinking it, like you said, so much. All right, last one we're picking, a Sunday game. That the Haas and I went opposite ways on. LSU and USC playing in Vegas. USC, first time to represent the Big Ten against the SEC. I guess we have to root for them. I don't know. I hate Lincoln Riley, though. But I am taking the 4 points. I don't necessarily think they win. I think it's a pretty high-scoring game, but their offense, I'm not too worried about it. Their defense can't be any worse, right? And LSU, I don't think their offense can be nearly as good, losing what they lost at receiver and quarterback last year. Brian Kelly, I think LSU still wins this one, and it may end up being a huge shootout, over under 64. I'm staying away from that, though, but I'll take the 4 for USC. Haas is laying the 4, though, with LSU probably thinking USC's defense still too crappy, which it could be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know a whole lot about either one of them, honestly. Like last year, I followed them pretty close, but I mean, you lose Caleb Williams and your defense still sucks. I don't see them being that great. So, and LSU just has a history of smacking teams down that are average. So I think they cover that. LSU does.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll probably do it for this week. we last year, the last 2 years we've done this, we've picked our 4 playoff teams at the end of every episode, like changing it. Picking 12 though, we aren't doing that every time. We'll figure out something later on to go about though. So for the Dyerwolf and the Haas, wherever you are right now, and I'm just Matt. Thank you for tuning in to the Views from C-Deck. Like, subscribe, comment, tell us your picks for the week. Tell us which picks we were wrong about. Tell us that Colorado sucks because Coach Prime sucks as they're losing at halftime right now. And I did pick North Dakota State straight up with a plus 280. I like that. So we will see you guys next time, though.
Damn it, what was I going to say? Oh, we could just.
Hey, guys. Whoa, big gulps, huh? All right. Well, see you later.
A rich man's world.